encourage them to earn one of those parking places, whether you're an upperclassman when it gets a little bit easier, excuse me, or whether you're an underclassman and you take pride in your schoolwork, in your achievements that Mr. Bloat pointed out, sorry for mispronouncing your name, and also by the activities that you participate in. The real reason that I have a problem with this, though, is that, as you say, this is a revenue opportunity, but what in effect happens is you're charging more. If you came back to me and said, we need to increase $20,000, which I think is already there, in the school budget to pay for this monitor, or if we were going to use this money to improve surveillance at the rec courts to reduce vandalism and such over there, it might be a different story. But that comes out of a value-based, or that comes out of the value of my property and the taxes that I pay for it. And so when you charge me things that way, rather than as a tax rate, rather than by a fee, you're giving me and you're giving the fellow citizens of town here a 15% discount, an 18% discount, a 21% discount on that rate. Because we get to deduct our local taxes off our federal taxes. So you're in effect giving us a discount on that. And it's going to vary by person. But when you take required things that you have, these aren't activity-based. It's not paying for a uniform for the track team. It's not paying for the transportation for the math club. This is paying for a facility that already exists, that you're already paying for. So by transferring this to a fee, you're increasing the rate that your fellow citizens in town are contributing to this. So I really think, and it's going to vary by person, and I understand if you don't have a child in the school, you're transferring things to people in the school, but it just seems like it's a bad idea. One other thing I'll just point out, and I'll point out to Chairman Steve, but also one of our town councilors on the Londonderry NH site. Luckily, this got pointed out there today. There's already 6 comments out there. This is the first I saw of it that was on that site. I didn't see anything in the newspaper, and I tried to read the newspaper. I didn't see anything on the town, on the school board, the school committee site, sorry, the school board site. But you know, this really needs to get out there, and I think you really need to listen to what folks say about this. I applaud you for looking for revenue opportunities. I really applaud you when it comes down to cost savings, because that's really where we save money. This is simply a transfer of fees. And you know, if you move forward with this, you better be careful what your friends on things like the town council do to charge you for parking as you continue to move forward. Thank you.
Bob, before you run, I'm sorry. You did say a few lines ago something about required. I'm not sure I followed what you meant by
you provide buses to students who have to travel.
Right.
The local students can walk. However, the fact of the matter is students are required to go to school.
Oh, right.
For people who are involved in activities, as many of the students in the high school are, this, in effect, having a car allows them to participate in those activities, whether it be sports, whether it be staying after school. I know there's the late bus and such, but the reality is you've got a captive audience, and that's really what that point was about. This is a captive audience that you're charging to, and this isn't, again, this isn't a fee for participating. This is a fee on top of kind of a penalty that you pay. You're not buying yourself a uniform. You're in effect paying for the parking space. There was a great comment on the Londonderry NH site, by the way. I'll credit Jim Lucelle. Why don't we just put up an easy pass at the gate? But can we make it a high-speed one, please?
That's
Thank
right.
you.
No toll booth.
That's right.
Bob, the only thing no, that's okay. The only thing I point out to you is I look at the parking there as a privilege.
Absolutely, I agree. But that's what.
But I've got no. I think you're right. It's the point system and all of that, and I agree with that. But I also don't see any problem with, you know, having a kid ante up what essentially is less than $1 a day to park there. Significantly less than $1 a day. 180 school days, it's 35 cents a day.
But
I just don't have. I don't see that being a huge issue. And I'm very thankful that you're here. It's good to have a conversation with other people for a change.
Well, you and I may disagree about additional 35 cents a day. It's, again, this isn't a savings, this is a cost transfer.
Ron?
The only thing I would ask, and Bobby brought up an interesting point, I would like to postpone this to another meeting so people, if they choose to come, have the opportunity to come to the board and speak about this matter. That's the only thing, if it isn't out there in the public, and I think it's one of those, not a whole bunch of money, but it could be a controversial issue that they would want to make a voice heard on.
Yeah, I think my intent was to ask that we bring this to the next agenda at an earlier part of the evening.
Sure.
Have it at the beginning. And I thought that coming out tonight and having the conversations would get, the press. I did provide the press, all the media outlets today, the electronic hard copy that was given to the board, and sent that to them so they would be prepared to publish it. So to get that out there, we could get a few more people to come to our meeting, and that's a good thing. And if they want to publish the issue about the uniforms
Validate, by the way.
high school, that might get more people out. But for me personally, at age 15 and a half, I went to work, and without the vehicle at school, I couldn't have gotten to work, and I probably couldn't have afforded the parking fees, but that's another issue. Nate, you had something?
Yeah, just a couple items I'd just like to mention germane to this topic. One, I want to thank Jay and Paul for bringing this forward. I think this is an important topic for us to discuss, and it's a follow-up to what we said we would be doing during budget time. And I think it's an important issue. It's an interesting issue, to put it mildly.
It has great value.
And so whichever way it goes, I don't think it should be, geez, it was these guys over at the high school that decided they were going to whack the kids for $50. I think it's something that really has to be looked at. And, and I understand exactly what Bob's saying. Part of it, though, is our obligation getting kids to school is providing bus transportation, right? So parking, and I understand exactly what Bob, is something above and beyond. So if some of the thinking behind it as we went through the budget process was, if we're providing the transportation to get them there, and there's an additional cost associated with monitoring the lots or maintaining the lots, then perhaps the cost could be offset. So it's just a thought.
Offset or paid by the people who use it.
That's
Well,
right.
I still have a problem with taking 4 years of exceptional citizenship and contribution and achievement and seeing you can't receive the fruits of that because you're not putting in $50.
Okay.
You're entitled to your opinion.
Yes, I am.
Interesting. The other,
I'm just trying to get my name in print.
just some,
What?
we want Bob's
Phone number,
side.
too, they can call you now.
It's on the
Sorry,
website.
so people know that everybody comes.
That's it, kid.
The other,
Bob's getting his buddies
just
down here.
as you return next week, just some other, the other schools, what do they use the money for? Do the other schools have paved parking lots versus our students parking on the plateau? Those kind of.
45.
The only other question I would have is if we take the position, if I would take the position, we try bus transportation or auto parking, one or the other, and you had 400 less students on the buses, would that speed things up, make things quicker? Is there any savings involved there? I mean, I can see having bus transportation, I see having parking, now they're having both, and that's the best of two possible worlds. At one point, you have to make a decision. So I'm just wondering if there's any savings. You have a choice. You pick one or the other. If you have a parking permit, then you're not on the bus. And then, maybe you reduce a bus here and there on the transportation and save that part of it. So that's just another way of looking at it.
Yep. And just for the community, I don't see this as 21 hours of breathalyzer meetings. So, just if everybody should be noticed that, we'll have this conversation next time and the board will take a vote. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if there's nothing else?